Slawek with idrinkcoffee.com. In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to descale a heat exchanger boiler. Descaling is the single most important part of maintenance. Calcium and limescale buildup inside your machine will create problems. We suggest descaling at least every 90 days, that's 4 times a year. To do a full and proper descale of a heat exchanger, we have to overfill the boiler. And in order to do that, we have to disable the level probe. Now all this sounds, or can sound, difficult and intimidating, but it really isn't. Just follow the steps in the video, do this every 90 days, and your machine will run for a long time to come. So the first step that we need to do is we need to disable the level probe. And in order to do that, we'll bring the camera in closer to show you exactly what needs to be done. So this is the level probe that's inside your boiler. What this does, it essentially just senses the water. This goes inside the boiler like this, and when the water touches it, it tells your machine to stop filling up the boiler. Now, we want to overfill the boiler so that we can descale the entire boiler, so I'm going to disable this. So this is the inside of my machine. This is a Bezzera Magica. All I've done is I've removed the heat shield and the top plate of the machine. The level probe is right here with this yellow wire attached to it. Different machines might have it in a slightly different spot, and we'll include a photo of the Rocket Cellini or the Rocket Giotto placement of the level probe, but it's essentially, regardless of the machine, it's always on the top and it always has a little wire going to it. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove this. Now what's happening here is I'm actually also pulling out the probe, but I've taken off the header there essentially, and I'm going to push that probe back in. And now, once I turn the machine on, it's not going to sense water and it will overfill the boiler. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to prepare my descaling solution. Now for descaling, we recommend Untitled descale or Swiss Espresso. Now since this is a large boiler, I'm actually going to use 2 packets. So I'm going to take 2 packets of my descale and I'm going to mix it with 2 liters of water. I have the water prepared in my pitcher here, and all I'm going to do is add the contents of the bags and then just give it a good mix. So I'm going to do that now. Just put that in there. And what we're doing is we're just creating an acidic mixture to break down that calcium and limescale that builds up inside the boiler and inside the machine. Put that in there. Now make sure to give it a good mix. You want to get that as dissolved as possible. You don't want it to be granular. So I'm going to add the water to my water tank. I have my descaling solution inside there, and now we're going to begin filling the boiler with the new solution. Now this part here is quite critical. I'm going to turn the machine on, but first I want to open both my steam and my hot water taps. Now on this particular machine, since it has the joystick style controls, I'm actually going to have to hold it because the hot water does not lock on the Bezzera machines. But if you have a machine with knobs, you just turn the knobs all the way open because we're going to get water coming out of both sides. What I want to do is I want to displace the water that's inside the boiler with the solution. And after a short pause, the machine, since the level probe is disconnected, asks for water, and it's refilling the boiler. It's going to fill the boiler all the way to the top. And I'm going to let about 1.5 liters of water run through here. Now one word of caution at this point is, since this machine has a vibration pump, I don't want to overheat that pump. So I'd like it to run for no more than maybe a minute at a time. Once it runs for a minute, I'm going to turn it off and I'm just going to let it cool down. Give it, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to rest. So you can see the boiler's filled all the way and the water's coming out both sides. If you want to hurry the flow on your steam side, you can also remove the tip. I didn't do that. I'll give you one more word of caution, and that's you may get a little bit of water coming out of your vacuum breaker valve because, again, the boiler is overfilled and the vacuum breaker valve is at the top. So what you can do is you can just wrap a towel or a small cloth around the vacuum breaker valve in order to solve that issue. And again, I want to displace approximately 1.5 to 2 liters of water. Another way you can tell if you've done that is by taking a look at your tank. My tank right now is almost empty, so I'm going to stop this in just a moment. Okay, so now I have the solution inside the boiler, but I also want to descale the heat exchanger, the group. So in order to do that, I'm just going to temporarily put on the level probe. I'm going to turn the machine back on, and I'm going to run a little bit of water through the group. And again, I'm going to do about 150 to 200 milliliters of water, and that way the solution will rest inside the heat exchanger as well. At this point, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn the machine off. And we're just going to have to wait now. We'll wait about at least an hour in order for the acid to do its work, and after that we're going to start rinsing it. And now after at least 1 hour, and you can leave it longer if you like, you want the acid to do its work after at least an hour, what we're going to do is we're going to rinse the boiler. And again, the process is exactly the same. So with the level probe disengaged, so the level probe is off, I'm going to turn the machine on again. And again, the machine's going to ask for water, and I'm just going to rinse it. You want to do at least 2 to 3 full tanks of water to get all of that acid out of there. The water coming out of your group, it could be a different color. It could be green or bluish. That's just dissolved calcium, and that's normal. And a good way to test it is, after you've done 2 or 3 tanks of water, you can taste the water. If the water still tastes sour, then keep rinsing. Now I also need to rinse my group, get the water back, get the solution out of the group. So what I have to do is re-enable my level probe, put that back on there, turn the machine on, and run water through the group. And again, same idea, you just want to run about 2 to 3 times the amount of water you put in. So about 500 milliliters of water through the group to rinse it out. Same test, if the water's sour, you need to rinse more. Just to return the boiler level back to normal. So again, with your level probe connected, you turn the machine on so it begins heating, and you have your steam and hot water taps open. And as the machine heats, it will basically, using pressure, expel the excess water and return back to the normal level. When you hear the machine ask for water, that means if the pump turns on, the machine's back to normal and ready to use. So as you can see, descaling a heat exchanger machine really isn't that complicated, and this is a full descale. We recommend you do this often to make sure your machine works for a very long time to come. If you have any questions about this process, or any questions at all about espresso or espresso machines, please feel free to contact either myself or any one of my colleagues. We're here to help. Thanks for watching. Here's to good times and good brews.